Five, three, two.
I don't know if anybody can hear me or see me yet. Can they?
I don't know. I think we're in the void.
Oh, there you are. I can see you. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, everybody. I'm Anna Shapiro. Oh, good. Jen saying we can see you. You guys, this is so exciting. I'm Anna Shapiro. I'm the artistic director at Steppenwolf Theater and an ensemble member.
And I'm Brooke Flanagan, the theater's executive director, and we are so excited to have you all here. Thank you so much to all of our members and our artist friends and generous donors and new friends to the theater for your support and for coming together tonight. We have over 1,000 people tuning in tonight, so we're pretty excited to welcome you into our homes and into our virtual Zoom room. And we're really honored that you all are tuning in to hear about Steppenwolf Now, our new virtual programming that starts streaming next month. And I thought, Anna, maybe we would start off. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for Steppenwolf Now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, look, we've all had quite a last 7-8 months, however long it's been. And when things started to come undone with COVID, we had 3 hit shows running on our Steppenwolf campus. We had a show about to open on Broadway. It was all Steppenwolf all the time, and we were really hitting our stride. And when we had to shut down, like everyone else had to shut down, it was certainly a body blow. But Steppenwolf doesn't get a lot of opportunities to feel like an underdog. You know, we are really lucky. We are well supported. We are in the greatest city in the world for theater. Fight me. And we always feel that support, and we feel that good fortune. But what people have to remember is that we're still scrappers. Like, we're still scrappers. We're still theater people, and theater people will find a way. We will find a way. And when we saw the writing on the wall, and I think it's because we lost so much so fast, we thought, no way. We are going to respond to this right away. All of us came up, almost every ensemble member came up in the Chicago storefront theater scene. We know how to, like, let's get a bucket of paint and put on a show. And we just said, let's turn our energy towards the way we can convene people again, even if that means we're in our room and they're in their room. And that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, right? We've talked a lot about this commitment during this time to create, to evolve, to continue to build. And I think it's so critical that we're able to share these stories in the virtual space, even though we can't be physically in our theaters while they're dark. I do want to say that I know a lot of folks have said, more streaming stuff. Aren't people like Zoom fatigued? But the cool thing is, right, that whether you're watching them on your computer or you're using things like Chromecast from Google or AirPlay from Apple, you can actually project the work onto your television. And so, like I did as an audience member for Pants Optional, feeling kind of like you're in your own theater space, whether it's the intimacy of your phone or your computer or creating your own version of theater. We're really excited to have everybody join us.
Well,
And I think the connection to the ensemble, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the ensemble right now not only is working on Steppenwolf now, but they're also, you all are so engaged in so much of the work, including the half-hour podcast. You want to tell us a little bit about that program?
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to tell you guys about our half-hour podcast, as well as is a little bit about what you're going to see in Steppenwolf now. So what we did, I mean, one of the benefits of being Steppenwolf Theater Company is the heart of who we are is our ensemble. So we have this incredible group of artists who basically kind of turned to us, the people in the day-to-day, and said, what can we do and what do you need? And that also included the artists that we were working with on the season that we had to cancel. And we first, with Steppenwolf Now, turned to those artists and said, do you have anything, an idea, a story, something that you feel like could only be communicated virtually? So when you talk about Zoom fatigue or readings, play readings that aren't meant to be on Zoom, one of the things that we really, really understand is that there's no way to replicate live theater. There's no way. It's just not possible. We need to convene. We've convened, since we started to stand upright. There's something about that circle, right? That we're half and the audience is half, and we make a circle together. So what we had to do is say, if we can't replicate that, we don't want to look to the virtual season to try to replicate something. What we do need to do is look at how we make meaning in people's lives. How does theater make meaning in people's lives? How does it open up their imaginations? How does it make them feel seen? And those are the conversations that we had with the artists who have created work for Steppenwolf Now. And they are taking all different forms, you guys. Some of them are short, some of them are long, some of them look like Zoom, some of them look like a comic book that's come to life. These are artists in response to this moment, not it's not a Band-Aid. Again, theater artists, we are ready. We're malleable. Give us a problem. We're going to solve it. We're going to find some way to perform for you. And that's what's been amazing. So, with Steppenwolf Now, with the shows that we have, that's this full virtual season, any Steppenwolf member gets it for free. But now for the first time, you can just get Steppenwolf Now. It's a $75 membership. It's basically less than a movie for each of these projects. They're really, really exciting. And now we've really recognized, cannot tell you how many people have reached out to us and said, I've never been able to come to Steppenwolf. I live in Peru and I've never been able to come. And so I now have my membership. I believe right now, as of today, we're in 11 different countries. So here's this moment, right, where we're all so isolated and we're all stuck where we are. And once again, theater, art makers, we are connecting the world. We are connecting the world. And one of the projects that we've started also has to do with connecting each other. So we have all these different generations in the Steppenwolf ensemble. And the half-hour podcast was the idea of 3 of our younger ensemble members who said, hey, can we interview the artists that we really admire in the company and get to know them through a podcast? And that's how it started. And then as there was more and more tumult and more challenge in the world, the artists started to say, I want to talk to this leader in our community. I want to have this conversation. And we are just finishing the first season of Half Hour and that podcast, which is free and which has now been downloaded by over 10,000 people. And we're really looking forward to starting the second season of that.
It's so cool. It's so cool. All the different ways. I mean, we keep saying, right, out of limitation comes invention. And whether it's this amazing virtual programming that you all will get a little peek behind the curtain for tonight, or Half Hour, or the way that our Step Ed team has evolved the virtual classroom, right? I mean, Step Ed from jump back in the spring was pivoting to virtual workshops, which engaged over 3,000 people from around the world. And now, just this week, we started streaming the radio play adaptation of George Orwell's Animal Farm. And there are 17,500 students that are already signed up, not only in Chicago, but across the world, to engage in that. There's a crazy virtual study guide that our team has created that's available online for students and teachers. And any of your friends and colleagues who might be teachers for students at grades 8 through 12, there's still time to sign up. So we really hope that that this will be a great gift to folks in this moment. And we're just so proud of our step ed team right now. The other thing that's been crazy for us, you guys, is that right now on Halsted Street, literally, our new theater and education loft are being built. So this expands our campus to go from Front Bar and the 1700 theater, the 1650 downstairs theater, and now we'll have this new theater in the round. And we really see it as a beacon of hope to know that even though we're in this virtual space, on the other side of this pandemic, we will come back together. And Anna, as you said, that's sort of two circles of the audience and the artist. The theater in the round is the physical manifestation of that. This 400-seat intimate jewel of a in the round theater that we're constructing is the pinnacle of us gathering around the fire to tell our stories. And I'm so proud that that's what we'll be welcoming folks back to when we come back up live.
That's right. Thank you, Brooke. And that's a really good segue to to storytelling in general, what we're going to talk about tonight. So normally for a lot of our Chicago folks who are on here, you know that what we're usually doing tonight is sitting at the theater, and I'm up on stage, and there's a bunch of chairs, and I get to talk to the different artists who are participating in the season and share with you what's going on. Of course, we could not do that this time. So we're going to be looking at these projects virtually. I actually have said to our team that this for me has been the best season launch conversation ever, because being able to have these really honest and intimate conversations with one set of artists at a time, really exciting, really edifying. And so we're going to start that off. And before we start that off, we're going to bring on our incredible Associate Artistic Director, Leli DeMose, who has been, let's be honest, running the show. So Leli, there you
Hi,
are.
everybody. Can you see me?
Lee. Hi, I can see you. I can
How's
see
it going? Hi, everybody.
you.
Nice to feel your energy. I can't see you, but I definitely feel you. And I just want to thank you for joining us. And I just want to say, always remember to go see a play. You can go in your living room. You can go in the dining room. You can go up outside. You can go in your car, but you can go see a play. So
now we're making that possible. Okay, so first, so I want to tell you guys, so we're going to be showing you guys little snippets of the conversations I got to have with all the artists on each of the projects. We're going to tell you a little bit about the projects, and then afterwards, we'll be back on screen for a live Q&A. So as you watch, be thinking of questions for us, anything that comes up. All right?
Bye, y'all. See you in a bit.
See ya, Brooke. Okay. So first up, we're going to see playwright James Iams for his play, What Is Left Burns, talking to me with the director, Whitney White. That play features our ensemble members, K. Todd Freeman and John Michael Hill. And here's a synopsis of the play. And for those of you who know me, you know that I will be reading from a card for a synopsis of a play. Two poets separated by age and distance engage in a video call rendezvous after 15 years. Keith, a distinguished poet and professor of literature, is moving towards retirement after a recent divorce from his wife. Ronnie, his younger former lover and mentee, has a New York Times bestselling book and a burgeoning career ahead of him. The two men wade through the connection they once had as they struggle with the desires that still bind them.
cool. So Anna, you know a lot about new plays. And this came together very quickly. James Iams writes very quickly. So, when you get a play, like how to navigate it, like what's going to happen. what did you feel when you first read his play? Because it came so complete in like 2 minutes. It happened
Right.
in 6 weeks.
Well, I do have to say that James is, one of my favorite New American writers. I think that his work is going to have a lasting impact. He's structurally inventive but perfect, which is always what you want as a director of new plays. And his work is so specific, and through that specificity, right, we have this universal experience. And what I was really impressed by was exactly what you said, Leeli, which was, we said, hey, you got something. And, a couple of weeks later, he said, yeah, I do. And here it is. And I think that in this particular case, what I was struck by is, again, with James, form is so important to him. He messes around with it. So why would he not be really good at this? He's really good at finding a form, a delivery system for an idea. And there was something about this virtual challenge that I just think unlocked in him a very, very, very specific thing. And as a result, he was able to just execute. And when I saw the piece, I will say that I had the little kid response. It was actually it was almost silly, where I texted K Todd and John Hill, and I said, it's like you're totally different people. And I do understand that's the job of being an actor, but to be up close to somebody that you know so well, and I know those two guys very well, and to feel them completely inhabiting something different and somebody different, that is a testament to James's work, and it's exciting. Can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the video. Let's go check it out.
Okay, cool. You guys, oh my gosh, James Iams, Whitney White here with me. It's so wonderful. Thank you. Beautiful faces to see. And, James knows I'm like, I fangirl out and am a little embarrassing about it, but I'm just a giant fan of your work. And I think that you are just one of the most important writers working now. And I was so grateful when I said, hey, is there anything that you could do as we move to this virtual platform? And you were just such a gamer. You were so ready to go. Where did your idea come from? Was it something that existed before COVID and before the Zoom, as we, look forward to our audiences getting to see What Is Left Burns?
I'd wanted to write a play about poets for a really long time, but I didn't know what I wanted it to be about and who they were. And I knew that poetry was going to need to be written in order for it to work, and I'm not a poet. So I took this as an opportunity to sort of like explore two characters that I was sort of kicking around in my head. And out of that came this sort of lovely little play that's all about people who can't like touch each other and be close and intimate. So it felt like a beautiful story to tell in this moment where we can't actually connect. Yeah.
I just watched the first pass of it the other day, and I was very taken by it. I mean, I think that what's interesting about the piece is that when it starts out, there's a performative quality in the two characters that at first you're like, what is that? And then slowly you realize, oh no, they're performing for each other. And then that starts to break down. And Whitney, did you talk about it that way, or is the play just structured so well that organically happens? Is it a combo platter?
Well, I have to tell the truth. The gift of working with James is you're working with a writer with a mature, expressive, and cleanly defined voice. So kind of similarly to Ms. Martha, it is written that way, and it's written that well and clearly, and you feel very much this like performance of I'm here, you're here, and slowly the breakdown of that into an intimate and fragile, dangerous space between two beautiful brothers. And it's just James's writing is always, it comes at you so finished in this beautiful way, which is a gift in our business, where half the time you start working on a play and it's like, where's the play? Are we doing this? Where is it? And even at working digitally, he works so thoroughly to kind of refine his language and the relationship between the characters.
I always think that the best plays are the plays that they are written and they're written the way life feels. And there's something that you guys have done too, and I don't know how you did it, that it doesn't feel like a short film. It doesn't feel like a Zoom call. It feels like a play. You know, there's something about that, right? Where it's like, I didn't know that was possible. And I did say to the fellas, because after I watched it, I was just blown away. I said, you seem like totally different people. Now, I know that's the point of acting, but I still get my mind blown. So what was it like working with those two loonies?
Oh God, I love those actors. I mean, as you know, I am a Chicagoan, and I have been a long time patron of the Steppenwolf Theater. And I've seen them both do so much work that's affected me over the years. And so at first I was just like, oh my God, I'm finally meeting these two actors I really respect. And it's over Zoom. So I had to like have a little petit more over that. But then they were both so prepared, so wonderful, and had such a strong point of view. I mean, that's why Chicago theater is some of the best theater in the world, because the actors, they work in rep, they become incredible at their craft with themselves, and their discipline and work ethic is just incredible. So there was no fumbling, you know, they ate James' play and then came ready to play, which is just incredible. That's how it was for me. Anyway.
It was amazing. And I have to say, like, the thing that you're feeling about what you're describing about watching it is very much Whitney shepherding this amazing duo through this play that on the paper it's quite flat, but when they start to speak it, you go, oh yes, this does work. This does feel like vital. But I was just sort of in awe when I watched the sort of like whole thing of Whitney's vision and Whitney's ability to sort of pull everything together and to expand the theatrical imagination of a play, which is like my favorite thing in the world, to like walk into, you know, a run or walk into tech and say, wow, I never could have imagined that, you know.
I have to say, I totally agree. I feel like you guys have locked in with one another in a way that's you know, we always talk about the Steppenwolf ethos is about collision. The energy that happens when things collide, when people collide, when ideas collide. And for you two, it feels just like when incredible lights are colliding, and we are the beneficiary of that. You guys, I cannot tell you what it means to us that you have contributed to this season of our work on, you know, it just in a really, really, really difficult time. And what's also just incredibly special is that the work is filled with hope. It's filled with love. It's filled with second chances. And it's filled with redemption. And we need more of that in the world. And I'm so grateful to the two of you. So thank you both so, so, so much. We're so grateful.
Thank you for your leadership in this time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, you guys.
That was great. It's so cool what you said about them being in sync, because there's such a unity of Whitney's vision, the words, the actors just performing at such a high level, the visuals, and our amazing production team who made this all happen remotely. So can't wait.
Absolutely. And I am such a geek fan of James's that I forgot for a second that we were watching a video and wanted to ask him some more questions.
Totally. Cool. So next we're going to hear from Isaac Gomez talking about his play Wally World, along with Steppenwolf ensemble member Karen Rodriguez, who is in the play. The other ensemble members include Cliff Chamberlain, Audrey Francis, and Sandra Marquez, and it's co-directed by Isaac and Lillian Brown, who directed Animal Farm. So here's a synopsis. It's Christmas Eve, and a group of Wally World employees are about to lose it. on the day of the year, the mega department superstore is supposed to close its doors. Secrets come to life that may destroy more than the holiday cheer. Their manager, Andy, is doing everything in her power to keep her store in line and her employees in check. But can hard truths from her past ruin everything she has ever worked for? Wally World is a festive, poignant examination of finding magic in the mundane as 10 employees do everything they can to find purpose in a place that has never seen purpose in them.
So here's my question. Since you guys really, you led this project with Patrick, how do you record a radio play when you can't be in a studio?
Well, we are creative people. So, as I was saying, our wonderful production department, we just started talking and figured out to basically send each actor a kit and an instructions sheet complete with photographs to show them how to set up the microphone, where to set, put towels and kind of do muffling of the sound so it sounds good. And then everyone was on Zoom and it was recorded remotely. So they came up with this really cool way where everyone was able to set up this little mini studio. And also, we also completed a 5-day workshop. So it gave Isaac time and space to rewrite for digital medium, because Isaac had originally thought of this as a stage play. But when this opportunity came, he started rethinking it, and he's so creative that he kind of remixed it. And along with Lillian Brown, they were able to really just focus on making it work the best for this digital medium as kind of a radio play. So let's take a look at Wally World, the interview about Wally World.
It's very difficult not to be together, not to find the time, right? To just connect, even if we just run into each other at front bar, even if we just, I don't know, just hug, right? Just look in each other's eyes at this moment. And I was thinking about you two a lot because, Steppenwolf is based in these like extant relationships, right? That have been going on forever. And I want to talk about Wally World for sure. But I also have to take this because I want to talk about you two, and I want everyone to know this relationship and what it is and how long it's been, and get a little bit of the People Magazine Inside edition on you two.
I'm ready. No.
You are ready. You are.
You are.
Wally World is our third collaboration at Steppenwolf.
The first time I met Karen, and it was in undergrad in an acting class, and I remember seeing her go up and deliver this hysterical monologue by Josefina Lopez, and it was the first time I felt like I saw myself not in me but in someone else, and it was a beautiful, like a soul recognition, like something in my spirit said, this is someone who's going to be in your life forever in like a really meaningful way.
I imagine I'll look back at this, my tenure and go, these two had some of the, like, I'm the most proud, I'm the most grateful for these two and the impact that they've had. I feel like Wally World is a perfect articulation of that for me. And I'd love to hear a little bit about that and about how it's going and where you are in the process and all of that as people get ready to listen to it over Christmas.
Absolutely. So I'll share a little bit of context, and Karen, I'd love if you could talk perhaps about your journey with the play, which I think is also surprising and fun. Which so for those who don't know, I was born and raised along the U.S.-Mexican border in El Paso, Texas, Juarez, Mexico, and Karen was also born and raised on the border, different border town.
Opposite ends of Texas,
opposite ends of Texas. And I was born on the American side and Karen on the Mexican side. And I think that's also very telling about our relationship too, and where we found each other. It's like, it's just such a weird universe thing. Like, it's just so strange and such a beautiful way. But with Wally World, I call it my Walmart Chekhov. And it's a play about my mom. My mom's worked at Walmart for 25 years. and has worked Troy up from cashier to assistant department manager of lingerie to department manager of ladies wear to assistant manager to co-manager and to now store manager at one of the largest retail focused Walmarts in the country, which is a huge deal. And her Walmart is situated right off of one of the border crossing bridges. So the majority of her customers are not just from El Paso, they're also from Juarez. And it was important to me because I grew up in Walmart, really. I mean, take your kid to work day. Whenever I was sick, I literally just found a name tag that said Isaac. And when I went back home recently, that my mom had made for me because I was always with her at the store. And I think there's something prolific and beautiful and meaningful about these everyday people who had and have lives that are deeper beyond our understanding. They're not just the random folks who stock your groceries or who pick up clothes when you throw them on the floor or clean up vomit from toys, but who have meaningful lives with dreams and aspirations and had no idea they would be working at Walmart for as long as many of them have. And what brings them all together is a profound loneliness that I think so many of us share. And what connects them is that they feel less lonely when they're together. And I think that's a big reason why they choose to stay.
What makes Isaac special is that he's an incredibly collaborative playwright. So there are times where like I'll just like riff off and he'll write it into the script because it felt natural, it happened, it was in the moment. And I feel like we just did it this past week. This week we were all like all the actors without Liliana and Isaac, we were all on a thread just being like, this has revived. It felt like we were in an actual room together, as close as you could get to through a Zoom. It felt like we were actually creating, and it's also a true ensemble piece. And the way that Isaac writes, he starts to tailor. It's not just me. It's like he starts to tailor these characters to the particular person that is reading it, especially when it's a perfect fit. And to me, this cast is perfect. And it was a true celebration of each other's talents. Like, I felt like the room was so supportive. Everybody on the chat was like, yes, that scene made me cry, or that's yes. Like, Sydney Charles would be like, let's get out of here. They're really acting over here. I was like, I know. Like, what are we doing? It's just like very celebratory vibe through a collaborative and creation room.
People need the hope of their imaginations right now. They need to hear stories of fairness, of ambition towards kindness, and they need the kind of echo of what you two share, which is a beautiful soul that contains all of the possibilities of what we can be, and we're all the better for it. And I'm so grateful for you two. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. We're grateful as well.
Love you guys. Oh my God, I love those two so much.
They're so great. They're so cool.
They're just the greatest. They're absolutely the greatest. And what's so great about this piece too, right, is that it's this true ensemble piece written by, Isaac, I don't think was even born the first time I saw Steppenwolf play. And yet this work is so for our ethos. It's so for our belief in ensemble acting. It's absolutely fantastic. And I cannot wait to listen to it. And I feel really, really excited for all of us to be able to enjoy it at Christmas time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be great.
So the next interview is with a playwright that is new to Steppenwolf and new to probably many people, Vivian J.O. Barnes, and she'll be talking about her play Duchess, Duchess, Duchess. So here's the synopsis. A royal wedding is looming. The Duchess and the soon-to-be Duchess are meeting face-to-face for the first time to go over everything you ever needed to know to become a Duchess. There are rules. There's a way of doing things. Remember, everybody is watching, and you don't want to know what happens if you step out of line. Duchess looks at the hidden cost of being, quote, the luckiest girl in the world. So, Anna, this is a gem of a play. One of the many things that struck me is that the play is an indictment about the institutions in the broadest sense of the word, and about the idea of how you are supposed to be, royalty, academia, the insane hoops that women, and in particular women of color, are asked to go through. What was the first thing that struck you as you kind of read this play and started diving into it and started talking to Vivian?
Well, I was struck first by her. A lot of times young writers, they have the thing they're attached to, but they're kind of embarrassed or ashamed by the thing they're attached to. And so they try to pick something that feels a little bit more legitimate for them to dive into. And what I was struck by with Vivian immediately was that she went right at it. She went right at the idea of being a princess. That is a pretty rebellious act right there for any young woman. It would be a rebellious act for an old woman. And I was really struck by the fact that she really just immediately, and at her age, starts to question not just, it's easy to question the kind of end results of going along with what's expected of you as a woman. It's a dead end. It's a dead end, and yet women have to continue to go down it. But what she's doing also is really kind of going at why we would want that. Why do you want to be a princess? Why do you want to be the most kind of watched, most important girl, and I'm using that word intentionally, in the world? And the truth is that a lot of it is about defending yourself against having to have a real life. It's about in Vivian's hands, because she's a very young, incredibly brilliant writer. What she understands really already is that the path she's choosing is real, but it's very, very scary. And she could just as easily become somebody's wife and a bunch of people's mom. And then maybe she could get out of it. And so to me, I feel like through this little looking glass of these princesses and this aspirational conversation about being important, she's kind of going at the essential question every young woman has to ask herself, which is, can I stand on my own? Because if I'm going to be in the game, I'm going to get my bell rung. And can I do that? Or do I need a structure? Do I need an industry? Do I need something other than just who I am? And the work is extraordinary. So I'm absolutely I cannot wait to see this piece.
Yeah, I can't either. So let's take a look at the video.
Sure. Well, hi, Vivian. It is so nice to see your face. What everyone should know is that Vivian and I in this COVID world have only spoken over the phone. This is our first Zoom, and I got to call her and tell you, Vivian, how much I love your play, Duchess, Duchess, Duchess. For us at Steppenwolf, we felt a kind of miraculous intersection with you when we read your work. We have a really diverse artistic office in terms of age and gender and race, and certainly mostly in taste. And so it's very rare where all of us say, this is something we want to see. And I think for Duchess, 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 we all want to see it for a different reason. We all have really different access points for what we think it's about, right? And can you talk a little bit, only what you're comfortable, talking about in terms of, your entry point to it, and for you, the why of it, you know, whatever part of that you're comfortable with.
Totally. I started writing it, I want to say like 3 years ago. It was like a little bit before I started school. I just wrote this like one-off monologue that was in the voice of one of the characters, which is the Duchess in the play. And it started when I just saw this picture of Kate Middleton after she had just given birth. And it was like a couple hours later, and she's like outside the steps of this hospital, and she's like smiling. She's perfectly done up, and she's like still visibly like, you know, she's still got a belly. Like she's still like, this woman clearly just gave birth mere hours ago. And I just thought there was something like incredible about that image of this woman like facing down all these paparazzi after having gone through this like pretty traumatic bodily thing. And it just like encapsulated so many things to me, like, you know, the demands of institutions and like what it means to be like a public facing figure, especially like a woman who's a public facing figure. And then I remember Meghan Markle was like, you know, she's going to join. And I was like, what the hell? Because in some ways it's like this reaction I feel like people have of like, you're just so excited where you're like, oh my God, we got one in there. Like, yes, we're going to tear that place down. And then the other side of the reaction is like, no, get out of there. Like, you know, like do not under any circumstances enter that institution. And it felt like such a great metaphor to me of like, on a bigger scale, what it means to be a Black woman entering institutions that are not necessarily warm and welcome and built for you, and like the ways in which once you're in it, you start to adapt, and like what it means to bring other people like you into it. And so like that's like some of the things that I was like playing around with as I was writing it. But really it's just a story of a duchess who's like already in the system, a soon to be duchess who's coming into the system, and they have this one meeting where for like, you know, 30 minutes, all the eyes aren't on them, and it's what goes down between them when those eyes aren't on them.
As you wrap your head around the way that the play will work in this odd time, in this terrible odd time, that gesture of your reach unites so many people. And it makes us all feel closer. And I just think that right now, writers like you are the warriors we need. And I'm really, really, really excited to have you at Steppenwolf many, many, many times. And to be in a room with you would be super, super awesome. And I know it will happen. And we just can't wait. We just can't wait, Vivian.
Can't wait either. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Take care, and I hope you get to see your family soon.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Wow, what a great.
Oh man, she's the greatest. And I mean, can you believe she's still in college? It's like,
It's amazing.
it is. It's amazing.
You know, to the back, she's working. I love it.
I know. I talked to her about all the Post-its in the back, and she said, I used to have them in front of me, and now I realize they have to be behind me, or I'm not going to be able to focus.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you and I are so excited about this. We'll just keep talking, and we got to keep going because we're going to get too behind, man.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Do I do next, or do you do next?
Well, it's a very short one. Either one of us can do it. So why don't you do it?
Okay, all right. I'm pulling my stuff up here. Sorry. I got so into this. So
Well,
this is Rajiv. Okay, so this is actually going to be funny. So Rajiv Joseph, this is a piece called Red Folder. It is about a first grader. The folder belongs to a first grader, and the piece is narrated by Carrie Coon. And I'm actually not going to say anything about it yet until I'll talk about it after you show the video of me and Rajiv. Okay. Great.
Let's show. So, yeah, and let me just give the synopsis, just a little bit. The red folder belongs to first grader. It is the source of all his woes. Years later, he seeks vengeance. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So I just wanted to, just before we see the video, I don't think Rajiv I don't know if he's directed before, but he was so clear in what he wanted. He was so precise in what he, when he was talking to Carrie, and Carrie is such a pro. She just came in ready. And so this opportunity for them to work together, and I don't think they've ever worked together, was really priceless. And I got to be in the virtual room watching it, and it was really extraordinary. So let's watch the video, and we will continue to be cryptic about what this is about.
Thanks. Perfect. Hi, Rajiv.
Hey, Anna.
Your piece is called Red Folder, and we have a pact, you and I, that we're actually not going to talk about it.
Right.
So, so this is the season preview chapter where the writer and the artistic director refuse to share with the audience anything about what we're doing, but mostly because the form of it, we want it to be a surprise, right?
Yeah. It's unique, I think. I'm really excited about it. And it's something that I never would have conceived of doing outside of the restrictions that the quarantine or the pandemic has imposed upon us. So
that's right. So we, I was saying to some of my students at Northwestern who are having a really tough time, understandably, right? They're grad students. This is a special moment for them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, theater people are constantly figuring it out, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we do. We first of all, we love feeling like the underdog. Mm-hmm. We absolutely are we are underrepresented. People, don't know how hard we work. And I feel like this is just an opportunity for us to rise to it. I mean, in every way, shape, or form. So I'm excited about Red Folder, and I have watched it, even though it's not finished, 20 times. So okay. I love it. We all love it. We're excited to share it. I want to know what you've been doing during this time.
I'm in Cleveland, where I grew up, and spending some time with my parents who are here, and my uncle, and just a little closer to family through all this, which has been nice. And it's been great. I mean, it's been heartbreaking, of course, having to postpone things like King James, but it's so funny when this thing began, back in March. My first thought was hey, I'm a playwright. This is how I live my life anyhow. I can do this. This is no problem at all. And actually, that hasn't been true at all. I soon learned that there's a difference between holding up in your apartment during a rewrite session for a play and being forced to. And I'm a person who likes to write in coffee shops and write in bars and write around people, and also write all day in my apartment and then go out and get something to eat, as a reward. And all that kind of stuff is now gone. And so that has been, that was eye-opening, because what I thought was a solitary existence with the life of a writer actually wasn't solitary at all.
I think that as artists, the kind of shifting of the prism is always something we're trying to do. And now I feel I have a different prism. It's before the prism looked like this, and now the prism looks like this.
Right.
And I think that's got to help us, right? I mean, we have to, there's going to be value. Although I was thinking to myself, when I was getting ready to talk to you, I was remembering back to when we were workshopping King James out at New Harmony. And I thought, I don't even know if I could string a sentence together that would be helpful in a room anymore. That's not about did you eat your lunch? Can you pick up your clothes off the floor? I'm not sure how my brain is working. But you're writing now, though. You're on a job right now.
Yeah, I'm part of a television show that's going to be on Apple TV. It's a new show, and so we're developing it in a Zoom room every day from 1 to 7, and it's actually been really fun. I mean, I really like the people in the room. I love being in there. I love having gainful employment during this time, which is really nice, but also being able to kind of work that muscle, because I hadn't been in a TV room in quite some time, because I've been focusing on theater. And I always prefer theater. I think that's my primary kind of, vocation. But
Right.
but working in television is always really interesting and fun. And also it's always very instructive about how to put story together, which is something that I'm always interested in, because I never seem to learn anything. And so I'm always like eager to learn more, because it's like every time I think I learned something, I forget something else. And so it's kind of like keeping all like these things together, like a madman, just so you can, string a coherent scene together. So when have the ability to be in a Zoom room with like 6 other brilliant writers,
Awesome.
I learn a lot.
That is cool. That's true, right? It's like, how many times do we have to learn the same thing over again? Our process in making plays is pretty consistent, and it's also a resilient teacher. It keeps teaching us. You and me and a martini are way up on my list, Rajiv. I really miss you, man.
And I miss you too. That I can't wait for that day. It'll come soon enough, but I can't wait.
Well, thank you so much for Red Folder, and you'll bring us together by sharing that with us, and we're so grateful.
Thanks.
And I'll see you soon, I hope. Okay.
Can't wait.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah.
All right.
Oh man. Okay. So, it's funny because just to everybody who's watching, after we shot that, Rajiv and me, and Leli and Kara Henry, our incredible head of marketing and communications, kind of gently reached out to me and were like, is there a way you could talk more about the play? And I said, no, because Rajiv is one of the most, I mean, humble in the best way, but for him, every statement he wants to make, every complex conversation he wants to have, it's in his work, right? Leli, he just doesn't want to pay lip service to anything else. And it can be frustrating when you want to know more and when you want to share with your audience like I do. But all I can say to you guys is that he is an incredible writer. He is probably one of the greatest American writers of his generation. He will be remembered. He has so much more to offer. And this piece is truly original, absolutely priceless. You will never tire of it. And we're lucky to have him in the Steppenwolf ensemble. And I adore the guy.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So let's go to our next piece, which is Donetta Lavinia Gray's, talking about her play, Where We Stand. And she's also the performer in this piece.
That's right.
So Anna, you saw this play when it was being developed at the New Harmony Project, which is a wonderful partner that we work with. King James was developed there in New Harmony, Indiana. The sense of place means so much to Donetta. And I know you've talked to her about it. Can you talk a little bit about what that means, a sense of place? And she's always wanted to perform here at Steppenwolf, by the way. So that's another layer of like joy that she brings.
Oh, yeah, she has. Donetta and I met because she did a reading of a Bruce Norris play a million years ago with me, called The Unmentionables. I'm sure some people who are listening saw that show. And we re-met again at New Harmony, and I was really struck. So for people who don't know what the New Harmony Project is, it's this incredible new play development program that happens in New Harmony, Indiana, which is this really picaresque community that was actually founded as a utopian community. One of the few, in the United States, there was this utopian community movement. So it was very interesting to watch this one person show performed in this very specific place, with this very specific audience member, these very specific audience members. And I thought, was this written for this room? Was this written for this room? And when I talked to Donetta about it, she made very clear who the play was about and for, but the gesture was about a creation of community based on the space that the play is performed in, a kind of nod to a certain community and the inclusion of the community it's performed in. And so what she's effortlessly done is a thing that I think we all wish was happening more now, which is a kind of effortless bridge between who you think other people are and who you are. And she does it without pointing at it, without saying that's what she's doing. And if you add that kind of beautiful gesture to her extraordinary gift with language, which at Steppenwolf is really a big thing for us because we are an actors theater company and everything lives in character and the words in our mouths. That's what we live for. She has merged both of those things, and she is a beautiful performer and a beautiful writer. And she is, to me, she is Steppenwolf top to toe.
That's great. Well, let's take a look at this interview with Donetta.
Donetta, hi.
Hello.
It's so nice to see your beautiful face.
Oh,
man, oh man.
it's good to
Where
see
are
yours
you?
too. I'm
Thank
at
you.
home in Brooklyn,
Okay.
chilling as
You
it were.
look like you're gonna you're either in a race car because of that chair, or like mission control. Like you are not messing around.
Well, I could show you also that I have my microphone set up, so it's also the love line. So if you'd like to, I'm taking requests from all the lovers out there.
Oh my word, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Donetta, can you just tell us a little bit about this piece that we're going to be experiencing virtually?
Yeah, so, originally it was commissioned for the Public's mobile unit. And if folks are familiar with that, it is a part of the Public where we take truncated versions of Shakespeare and we take it out into the 5 boroughs of New York, really trying to find communities for whom access is limited to get to the theater, right? And part of those communities are incarcerated communities. And the thing that I love so much about working with the mobile unit is that there's no hierarchy when it comes to performer and an audience member. So before each show, the artists get to mingle with the audience wherever they are. And so I got to talk to some really phenomenal folks in the incarcerated community about just, where they were before the show, what their expectations were. And it was kind of like, yeah, we're here, you're here, and we're just going to do this performance. It isn't a matter of us doing any sort of extraordinary volunteerism or anything like that. It's just we're in the room together as human beings. And you really get to sort of check in with those folks. So what I wanted to do with Where We Stand is center folks from that community. Folks who had been on the outskirts of society, who had maybe because of certain circumstances within their community had been pushed out to the outside of society, but center their story and have them sort of address this community and see what grace is like, what forgiveness might be like, what it might be to invite them back into the folds of this community. And if we as a town, as a community would be willing, what it takes to do that, and to think about our responsibility to each other within that. So I wanted to address that. And then I also wanted to, to think about that this is a community that's also really used to heightened language. So I wrote the whole thing. It's mostly in verse. There are songs, and so they were used to a certain kind of language and a certain kind of way of being addressed. And there's this sort of equality inside of the piece that they could really attach and identify to. So that's one thing. So it is in my spirit, it's for those communities, centering in those communities that don't have access. So it's interesting now to do it and to know that the person at the center of the piece desires community and desires connection and desires to be a part of a whole. And we are mostly in isolation here, during COVID. And what community means to each other in this time of, social uprising as well. What do we mean to each other? What does that mean? It's taken on sort of a greater purpose, or a more, succinct kind of purpose in that. So we have the community that is immediate, and then we have the community that is expansive. So those questions still apply, though. So it's exciting. It's exciting to kind of see the evolution of the piece over time.
Danetta, I know how busy you are, all jokes aside, and you've given Steppenwolf so much of your time, so much of your talent, and this is the beginning, because I am not about to stop calling you.
Oh,
so,
please don't, please don't. Gosh, it has been such a highlight of, I have felt such embrace and such care and support and just like excitement about the work. So that makes me really, really thrilled, and makes me feel like, a coming home of sorts to Steppenwolf. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, my dear. And we'll talk a gajillion times, I'm sure.
Absolutely. All
right, dear. Take it
Bye-bye.
easy.
Wow.
Man, right? Like, I just got completely taken in with her again. She's just the greatest brain, the greatest theatrical mind. She's also just, it's like I said, everyone that we've spoken to is so filled with generosity. These writers are about creating communion. They're about creating shared space. They're about, we in the artistic office contemplate now a lot, like, what are people going to need when we get back? What are they going to need when we get back? And I feel like we're able to answer what we need now. Like, I need the world to feel smaller in a good way versus smaller in a bad way. And every single one of these writers is just, they're in it for that. They're in it for creating community. They're in it for this beautiful challenge. They're in it for appealing to the highest common denominator of who we are. And just really getting to do these again has just been amazing. And we have a little more.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
We do. So last but not least, we're going to watch a discussion with ensemble members Randy Arney, Jan Barford, and William Peterson, discussing Ages of the Moon by Sam Shepard. Jan is directing this piece, and it'll be great. He's going to have a lot of fun directing Randy and Billy in it. And if you haven't heard, Jan Barford was nominated for a Tony this week for his work in Linda Vista. Amazing work as Wheeler. So we're very happy that Jan got nominated, and Lois Smith also got nominated. So it's been a great week to celebrate our actors this week. So this piece, Ages of the Moon, it's a one-act play. It's 35 pages. And I know we've been looking at it, and we've been wanting to produce it, but never found the right way to kind of present it, because it's a one-act play. So when this idea came up, how did Jan, Billy, and Randy, how did they react to it? Because it was such a different way than they probably conceived it when they say we want to do a play on stage with people.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's actually not only evolved in the form, but it's also evolved in meaning, right? I mean, I think we all know that our country in particular is engaged in a really important reckoning with race, and hopefully one that will, move the needle finally. And part of that is the question of who's been running things this whole time, which is in the United States, white dudes. And so, whereas before maybe a play by Sam Shepard with a couple of white guys, directed by a white guy, doesn't even raise an eyebrow. What's really cool about this project is that it went from being a story that they were interested in, because it's Sam Shepard, who we have a long history with at Steppenwolf. It's aged correctly. It's all of those things. To their feelings about it evolved, Leli, because they realized that as middle-aged white guys, they're engaging willingly in the question of what their job is now, where are they supposed to put their energy? How have they been a part of the problem? How have they been a part of the solution? And so if you twin that also with, I bet you there are some old time Steppenwolf folks on here who remember Fool for Love, where Randy and Billy, I saw it in high school, where Randy and Billy played opposite each other in Fool for Love. You could essentially argue that those two characters are meeting up again on this porch, right? And what's great, right, is that those characters played by these exact same actors. So they're having to reflect on the contemplation of maleness, which was absolutely Sam Shepard's project, right? American maleness, and because he was white American maleness. And now they're having to contemplate it in terms of different access point because of the virtual component. So what's amazing is that everything that's changed since they all were interested in it, which has been a couple of years now, has just made their investment deeper and has actually made the idea of exploring it more exciting for them and more challenging, and they are raring to go. And I think that, Leela won't say it on this, but if Tom Pearl were here, who's our director of production, they are the ones who are constantly emailing, going, when do we start? What's the budget? When can we do it? So these are guys who are really ready to contribute at this, at this point, and excited to be a part of our virtual season. And I don't know if I even get a word in edgewise in this interview. And if I do, it's because Joel edited it well. Don't get these guys going.
Let's take a look at the video.
I can't tell you how excited I am that you guys are going to be working on this project for us. Ages of the Moon by Sam Shepard. The theater has such a long relationship with him. And I just kind of wanted to say, you're not an easy trio to get individually. And somehow I managed to get all three of you. So what the hell? How did this happen?
First of all, I mean, Randy and I go way back with Sam Shepard, as does the whole theater. But I remember Martha sent me the play a long time ago, and I read it and I liked it, but a million things happened, and then Randy and I talked about it. Jan and I talked about it this is over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah.
And there was scheduling issue. We didn't know where or what. We thought maybe we would do it upstairs in the little theater at Steppenwolf, and possibly maybe do it out here too in LA, or start it out here and take it there, and then, or vice versa. Yeah. And this just ended up being one of those things where it kind of seems to have worked out because in some ways of COVID,
That's right. That's right. I think that's right. Randy, what do you remember, your first impulse around wanting to do it? I mean,
Billy one day reached out to me and said that he had this play, a Sam Shepard 2-character play that Martha had sent, and wondered if at the time, this was pre-COVID, we live almost close enough together in Los Angeles that we can certainly bike to each other's house, if not walk. So I went over and joined Billy in his backyard, and just the two of us sat and read the play. And as Billy said, 1984, 36 years ago, was the time that Billy and I were appearing in Fool for Love together at Steppenwolf. It was literally the play that I was doing when the ensemble asked me to join the group. So the connection to Shepard and connection to Billy was so deep. And to read a play about a 40-year-old friendship, when that's exactly what we have, was really special. And Billy even said it's almost as though the two characters that we played 40 years ago have now grown up. They are now 60 something as opposed to 25 or 30 something. And it really gave us, I think, an in to connecting with these characters and connecting with each other.
It's funny, Rand, you mentioned 1984. And if I'm not mistaken, I know that was the first year that I got to ISU and began studying acting and theater. And I think that was the same year that I first saw the PBS film of the stage production of True West, with John and Gary. And I thought, my God, if people can get paid to do this, this is what I want to do, because it looked like my two older brothers, up there. Yeah, I feel like this, we're experiencing a profound cultural shift in the American theater. I think the white male patriarchy is squarely on the chopping block. Generational change is inevitable. And yet, no generation of men are independent from the preceding generation. And so, Shepard was born in the 40s. You two guys were born in the 1950s. I was born in the 1960s. And there's this connection.
It's literally, I said, it's like two elephants have wandered off and are going to be off to die and are digging through the what's left of their life. And I think getting to view this and hear Sam in the time of Me Too and Black Lives Matter will only sharpen all of his themes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Randy, we couldn't have said it better. I mean, I think that that's so true. And I'm so grateful for you guys for adding the dynamism that's being added to our virtual season.
We'll find a way to make it cool too. We're going to find a way.
Yes, you guys are amazing. And thank you so much for joining us. I cannot wait. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Anna, for making it happen.
Absolutely. Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Oh my God. Look at those old guys.
They're amazing.
They are. They're totally amazing. They are amazing. I do feel like my pride, Brooke and I have been texting a little bit. My pride is forcing me to explain why I am being videotaped in a room that looks like I'm in a prison cell. It's awful. I'm afraid that everyone will think that I was in jail. We were between houses and I was staying in a little roadside hotel, and those conversations were like, they lit me up. I could have been sitting in the Taj Mahal. It didn't matter. They transported me. And I know that the projects themselves, when you guys get to see them, is just, they're going to transport you as well.
Awesome. Well, Anna and Leela, you've taken us through quite a journey since we were last three together. And I've loved, first of all, seeing these amazing generative artists of our time, and knowing that through the support of the members and the donors in this community, which stretches from Chicago to the Philippines, we've seen on the chat tonight, we are giving them a voice for their work to bring us together, to find ourselves, to explore this moment in time. And we're going to open it up quickly. I know we've run a little beyond the time that we anticipated, but we really want to hear from you. So just a reminder, you can submit your questions using the Q&A function at the Zoom at the bottom of your screen, or on Facebook or YouTube in the comments section. And we've had a few come in over the course of your Leela and Anna show. So the first one I'm going to pitch to y'all to answer is, why aren't we sharing snippets of the shows tonight with folks? They're anxious to see the goods. So why aren't we sharing them?
They're not done. They're not done, you guys. Seriously, during the time that we've been on here, I got the script changes for Wally World. We are in production. We've got, right, Leela, you can talk us through. We've got one that's in like final cut.
Yeah.
So I swear to God, we're not keeping something from you that we have.
Yeah. The train has left the station and we're running along, and we go on the train, we come off, we tell you about it. We look in, it looks really good. It's like, it's good. So we have, Rajiv's working on Red Folder and having so much fun. He's in the final stages. Wally World we're recording today, like, and tomorrow and Friday. So that's why we can't share snippets, because it's
because basically they're in previews, but their previews are private. So like I've seen first and second passes of What Is Left Burns. We just heard Wally World. I've watched Red Folder, but it needs composition. So honestly, that's all going on as we speak. We're in process, guys.
Yeah, and it's actually astonishing, you all, the way that the word of 2020 is pivot, one of the words, and this group is like in it. We are in it, and it's awesome. The next question is, let's see, do you see virtual programming sticking around after we're able to reopen the theater?
That's a really good question, and I have to tell you that for me right now, the answer is yes. Because I think what we've discovered is that, it's like the size of the bowl you put the goldfish in. And these projects, because they're specifically for streaming, like they're for this platform, that's opening up what the artists are doing. And so since Steppenwolf is an artist-centric organization where we lead from the impulses and the interests of our ensemble, if we have writers who are in our ensemble or are part of our community who continue to want to generate work that can reach, the Philippines thing literally made me cry. I'm Filipino, so shout out to the Philippines. Like the idea that I would be having a conversation with the work that I'm programming with people from where my family is from, that just never even seemed possible. And at this moment, when I see how much this work is bringing this world together, I don't see how Leela and I can stop. And I know that Brooke will back us up. So I think it's about continuing to build these bridges through creativity, through the art, continuing to connect us as far and wide as we possibly can.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. We're going to end. There's so many questions, and we hope that over the next year we'll be able to be in dialogue with y'all to answer them. But we're going to end on one that makes my heart soar, because we are so focused right now at Steppenwolf on gratitude. And this final question is, what's been a surprising gift during this time?
Oh God, well, that's just going to make me cry. So I'm used to being in a room where I can see all the people, right? Like when we do this normally, it's just, I'm in the house that I know at 1650 Halstead, looking at the room. I see a million faces that I recognize, and it makes me feel comfortable. So before this, I was really nervous because I thought, oh my God, there's going to be hundreds of people. I can't see them. I can't feel what they need from me. And then I've been on this and I've realized how big this conversation is. And one of the things about theater that can be hard is how few people you can reach, because sometimes it's priced out of people's range, because it can't go the places sometimes it needs to go, especially in the United States, where the economic model doesn't support it going to the places you wish that it could go to. So the biggest surprise, the biggest gift has been everyone on this call, on this thing, whatever this thing is called, that I couldn't have connected with before, who I couldn't have brought our artists to before. That's what Leela and Brooke and I, that's what we live for. Connecting people, showing that we share more than we don't. We wish for more of the same things than we don't. And we are one people in one world. And I've been happy to be a part of a bigger world.
That's beautiful. And we're so grateful to you both, and for your time tonight, and for all the audience members that tuned in. And Anna, I think because of our time, there have been a lot of great questions in the chat that we might actually create programs around the questions to help get behind the scenes into the work in the ways that you want to explore it. But for now, I'm going to pass the mic back to you, Anna, to wrap us up.
You guys, thank you. And I'm serious. I'm going to look at all those Q&As. I can't look at them right now because I don't have access. And even if I did, I wouldn't know how to use my computer to look at them. But I trust, Brooke, that there are some things there that we could look at. We will take all those questions in. Please, please, please consider becoming a Steppenwolf member or getting a Steppenwolf Now membership. It's $75. Because, there's in the chat, you can take a look to see how to do it at steppenwolf.org/now. This will continue to support us, continue to help us bring you guys the work. Remember, this is an exchange. And this connection is so valuable to us. We miss you. And any way that we can keep this connection going, make it bigger, and create this connectivity throughout the world. So please come and join us for Steppenwolf Now. And thank you for being here with us tonight. We're so, so, so grateful. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon. Go see a play. Go see a play.